I was shaking with rage. Fine. Get your landlord here. I'd love to see how he plans on kicking me out of my own home. Who's looking for me? I turned to see a blonde punk, radiating cheap arrogance, swaggering through the crowd. I'm the landlord. You got a problem? He asked, his eyes raking over me dismissively. Where's Mr. Henderson? I demanded, frowning. My property had always been managed by him, and he was nothing but professional. So you did your homework, huh? You even know my uncle's name. Well, I'll tell you. My uncle's out of town. This place, he jabbed a thumb at my apartment, is my responsibility now. He pointed a finger in my face. I've heard all about you from these lovely ladies. I don't rent my property to filthy, immoral people like you. If you know what's good for you, you'll grab your junk and get lost. I stared him down. Do you even know whose name is on the property deed? And you have the nerve to tell me to get lost? It's my uncle's place, so of course his name is on the deed. Whose else would it be? Yours. The punk scoffed. Ava stepped forward. Anna, just stop. The landlord is here. It's over. The punk ignored me, strutting into the apartment. He did a quick tour and came back out, his face twisted in a snarl. Hey, where's that big Lego set that was on the TV stand? Did you steal it? That was a limited edition set worth $20,000. You better hand it over right now. That Lego set. My little niece loved it when she visited last week, so I gave it to her. It was my property. Do I need your permission to give away my own things? Your property? That belongs to the landlord. My uncle. The punk sputtered, practically hopping with fake rage. Lily immediately jumped in to support him. We can vouch for that. That Lego set has been there since we moved in. How could it be yours? It obviously belongs to the landlord. Ava frowned. Anna, you should really try to get it back. Stealing is a crime. If the landlord calls the police, you'll be in serious trouble. I watched them a symphony of lies and felt a wave of disgusted disbelief. Then call the police, I said. My calm indifference was the final straw. You bitch. Stealing and you're still this arrogant? His hand flew out and a sharp sting exploded across my cheek. A loud smack echoed in the hallway. My ears rang, and I could taste the metallic tang of blood in my mouth. Eva stepped in, stopping the punk from hitting me again. Let it go. Let it go. It's probably hard to get back something you've already given away. Anna, why don't you just pay for it? Since the landlord says it's worth $20,000, just give him the money. You make money easily, right? A little sum like that is nothing to you. Just pay him, and this will all be over. I had to laugh. The Lego set looked impressive, but it was a model kit I bought for $300. It all clicked into place. The glances between them and this punk. This was a setup. They were in this together, trying to extort money from me. Seeing my lack of reaction, the punk shoved me again. Hey, did you hear me? Pay up, or I'm calling the cops and having you thrown in jail for a few years. I told you it was my property. God damn it. You just don't learn. He snarled, raising his hand to slap me again. He hit me so hard, I stumbled and fell, my vision swimming with black spots. Jenna's eyes darted around. Then she pointed at my luggage. She's a thief. I better check my things, make sure she didn't steal anything of mine. She crouched down and started rummaging through my suitcase. She pulled out a gold necklace, a flash of envy in her eyes. She held it up for everyone to see. Oh, my God. My gold necklace. I've been looking for this for ages. I can't believe it was in your suitcase. Ava. Lily, come look. I bet she stole a ton of our stuff. At her words, Lily's eyes lit up and she joined the plunder. Like vultures, they tore through my belongings, pulling out jewelry and brand name makeup, claiming each item as their own and stuffing them into their pockets. The other neighbors, seeing this, started to get restless. Ava smiled sweetly at the crowd. Uncles, aunts, maybe you should all have a look too. See if she's taken anything of yours. That was all it took. The crowd swarmed forward like a plague of locusts. Trash. The trophy I won in a college competition was knocked to the floor and shattered. RIP. The sweater my mother had hand-knitted for me was torn apart. My down jacket was slashed open, and feathers filled the air like a bizarre snowstorm. I even saw a greasy-looking man pick up a pair of my underwear, take a deep, disturbing sniff, and shove it into his pocket. Stop. All of you. Stop. I screamed and lunged forward, only to be shoved back to the ground. Eva stood over me, a look of pure, innocent malice on her face. You know, she said conversationally, I wonder if she's hiding the rest of the stolen goods on her person. Every eye in the hallway swiveled to me. The blonde punk licked his lips. Strip her. Let's see what she's hiding under there. You touch me, I snarled, and I swear I will make you regret it for the rest of your life. Boo. I'm so scared. he mocked. Let's see what you're gonna do. He reached for the collar of my shirt. I fought back with everything I had, but Jenna and Lily pinned my arms and legs down. Ava raised her phone, capturing me at my most broken and helpless. She mouthed 2 words at me, a silent, vicious curse. You deserve this. In that moment, a tidal wave of regret crashed over me. I had invited these wolves into my home. The punk's fingers curled around the collar of my shirt, his nails digging into the fabric like talons. I could smell the cheap, citrusy cologne he wore, a cloying scent that mixed with the stench of his unearned arrogance. Jenna and Lily's knees pressed into my ribs, their weight crushing the air out of my lungs, until my vision blurred at the edges. Eva stood above us, her phone held high, the flash already popping, as she captured every second of my humiliation. The neighbors watched from their doorways, some with morbid fascination, others with thinly veiled approval. No one moved to help. No one said a word. They were all complicit in this, feeding off the chaos like vultures. Get your hands off her. The voice cut through the noise like a blade through butter. Deep, calm, and laced with a quiet authority that made every muscle in the hallway go rigid. The punk's hand froze mid-tug. Jenna and Lily glanced up, their faces draining of color, as if someone had sucked the blood right out of their veins. I twisted my head, squinting through the black spots dancing in my vision, and saw a man in a tailored charcoal suit, standing at the end of the hallway. He was tall, with sharp, angular features and a jaw set in a line of unyielding resolve. Behind him stood 2 more men, equally imposing, their hands resting on the handles of black leather briefcases. Black courier van idled outside the building, its hazard lights blinking red and blue, like a silent warning. The punk let go of my shirt, shoving me back onto the floor with a snort. Who the hell are you? He snapped, trying to reclaim his bravado, but his voice trembled. This is a private matter. Mind your own business. The suited man didn't deign to answer. He walked down the hallway, his dress shoes clicking against the tile, in a rhythm that felt like a countdown. He knelt beside me, his movements deliberate, and offered a hand. His grip was strong but gentle as he pulled me to my feet, studying me when my legs threatened to give out. Miss Carter, he said, his voice softening just enough to be noticeable. I'm Elias Hale, senior partner at Hale Cross. Your father sent me. The documents you requested have arrived. Carter. My last name. The one I'd hidden from my roommates for 6 months. The one I'd kept buried to honor my parents' insistence on discretion. The moment it left his lips, Ava's face turned as white as a sheet. Lily's mouth dropped open, her eyes wide as saucers. Jenna's hands began to shake so violently that she had to clasp them together to hide it. The neighbors exchanged confused glances. Carter wasn't a name they'd heard before, not from the poor, struggling Anna, who'd shared their complaints about rent hikes and commute times. Documents. The punk scoffed, but his confidence was slipping. He glanced at Ava, who avoided his eyes. What documents? This is my uncle's apartment. He owns the whole floor. Is he? Elias turned to him, his gaze cold enough to freeze water. He nodded to the man on his left, who opened his briefcase and pulled out a stack of papers, bound in a leather folder. Elias took it, flipping to a page near the front, and held it up so everyone could see. The document was sealed with a gold wax stamp, the words property deed, and blazoned across the top in bold black letters. This is the official deed to 304 Oakwood Avenue, Unit 1201, signed by Elizabeth and Richard Carter, Miss Carter's parents, 3 years ago. It was gifted to Miss Carter upon her graduation from Yale last month. She is the sole legal owner of this apartment. And for the record, she owns the entire 12th floor. Your uncle, Arthur Henderson, is the property manager, nothing more. A gasp rippled through the crowd. The middle-aged woman who'd accused me of blasting music stepped back, her face flushing with embarrassment. The man who'd stolen my underwear quickly slipped it into his pocket, his head ducked so low his chin touched his chest. Security guard let go of my arm, his posture stiffening with guilt, as he realized he just tried to evict the building's owner. The punk stared at the deed, his eyes wide and disbelieving. That's a fake. A fucking fake. My uncle would never let some rich bitch. Language. Elias said sharply, cutting him off. He pulled out another document. This one a letter on Henderson Property Management letterhead. This is a statement from Arthur Henderson dated yesterday. He confirms he has no knowledge of your impersonation, nor did he authorize you to collect rent or make any decisions regarding this unit. He's currently on a cruise in the Mediterranean, Elias finished, his voice smooth as silk but heavy as a tombstone. He has been unreachable for 3 days. Which means Kyle. Elias read the name off the fake landlord's driver's license he had swiftly plucked from the punk's back pocket, You are merely a nephew with a stolen set of keys and a criminal amount of audacity." The silence that followed was absolute. It was the kind of silence that precedes a thunderclap. Kyle, the punk, looked from the deed to Elias, and then to me. The color drained from his face so fast he looked like a wax figure melting under heat. I didn't know. She looks like a bum. Look at her clothes. These bum clothes, I said, my voice raspy from the screaming, are vintage casual wear. But I wouldn't expect someone whose outfit costs less than a parking ticket to understand that. I stood up, shaking off the dizziness. My cheek throbbed where he had slapped me, and the metallic taste of blood was still sharp on my tongue. But the fear was gone. It was replaced by a cold, burning furnace of rage. "Elias," I said. "Yes, Miss Carter?" "Lock the building down. No one leaves." The neighbors, who had been inching toward their doors, froze. The greasy man who had my underwear in his pocket tried to make a break for the stairwell. One of Elias's bodyguards moved with terrifying speed, blocking the path like a granite wall. The man squeaked and scrambled back. "You can't keep us here," Ava shrieked, though her voice wavered. She was still holding her phone, though she had lowered it. "This is kidnapping." "No, Ava," I said, stepping closer to her. She flinched. "This is a crime scene, and you have the evidence right there in your hand." I snatched the phone from her grip. She gasped, reaching for it, but I held it high. "You recorded everything, didn't you? My humiliation? The assault? The theft?" I turned the screen to Elias. "Secure this. And call the commissioner." "Not the precinct, the commissioner." Jenna and Lily began to sob. It wasn't the crying of the remorseful. It was the terrified weeping of bullies who realized their victim had teeth. "Anna, please," Lily whimpered, reaching out a trembling hand. "We didn't mean it. Kyle forced us. We were just scared." "Scared?" I laughed, a harsh, jagged sound. "You were tearing through my luggage like rabid dogs. You took my mother's necklace. You," I pointed at Jenna, "broke the trophy I won for my thesis. You called me trash." "We can fix it," Jenna pleaded. "We'll pay you back. Pay me back." I looked at the shattered remains of my mother's hand-knitted sweater on the floor. "You can't afford the thread, let alone the sweater." Sirens began to wail in the distance, growing louder by the second. The next hour was a blur of vindication. The police arrived in force, not just patrol officers, but detectives who snapped to attention when they saw Elias Hale. Kyle was the first to be cuffed. He screamed obscenities as they dragged him out, kicking and spitting, charging him with assault, battery, impersonation, and attempted extortion. Then came the roommates. "Miss Carter, please," Ava screamed as the officer twisted her arms behind her back. The handcuffs clicked, a beautiful, mechanical sound. "We're friends. We lived together for 6 months." "I lived with rats for 6 months," I corrected her, watching as an officer pulled my gold necklace out of her jeans pocket and bagged it as evidence. "And now, the exterminator is here." The officers went through the crowd of neighbors next. It was a humiliating assembly line. The man with my underwear was charged with sexual misconduct and theft. The woman who broke my trophy was cited for destruction of property. One by one, the vultures were identified, their names taken, and their stolen goods retrieved. Elias stood by my side the entire time, handing me an ice pack for my cheek. "Your father is going to be displeased about the bruise," Elias noted quietly. "He'll get over it," I muttered, pressing the cold pack to my face. "Did you get the footage?" "Uploaded to a secure server. Also, I took the liberty of contacting the university board," Elias said, adjusting his cufflinks. "Miss Ava and her cohorts are on scholarship, I believe? Morality clauses are quite strict these days." I looked at him, impressed. "You work fast. I work efficiently. Now, regarding your living arrangements, obviously, you cannot stay here tonight." I looked around the rec department. My sanctuary, defiled by greed. "No," I said softly, "but I'm not leaving for good. This is my building. I'm going to clean house." I spent the next week at the Hale Cross private suite at the Ritz. My parents called, furious and worried, threatening to fly in from Geneva, but I convinced them to let me handle it. I needed to stand on my own 2 feet. On the 3rd day, Arthur Henderson, the real property manager, showed up. He looked like a man walking to the gallows. He sat across from me in the hotel suite, sweating profusely. "Miss Carter, I have no words. My nephew, he has always been a troubled boy, but I never imagined." "You gave him the master keys, Arthur," I said, sipping my tea. "I didn't offer him any. I was just letting him water the plants while I was away. I didn't know he would." "Negligence," Elias interrupted from the corner of the room, not looking up from his tablet. "Vicarious liability. Breach of fiduciary duty." Arthur flinched with every legal term. "I'm firing you, Arthur," I said calmly. "And I'm suing you for the damages caused by your nephew." You're going to lose your license. Miss Carter, please. I have a mortgage. I have. You had a responsibility to protect your tenants, I snapped, slamming my cup down. Instead, your family assaulted the owner. Get out. He left, weeping. Next came the legal proceedings against the girls. Their families reached out, average, middle-class parents who were horrified to learn their daughters were facing felonies. They begged for a settlement. They offered money. I refused everything. It's not about the money, I told Elias as we reviewed the plea deals their public defenders sent over. They wanted to ruin me for $20,000 they thought I owed them. They were willing to send me to jail over a Lego set. Let them see what the inside of a cell really looks like. Ava, desperate and vicious to the end, tried one last play. Before her phone was fully processed into evidence, she had apparently cloud-synced a snippet of the video, the part where I slapped Kyle back, in self-defense, and where I screamed. She released it on social media with a caption, "Crazy rich girl assaults landlord and frames poor students. Help us." It gained traction for about 6 hours. People love to hate the rich. But Elias was ready. "Shall we release the full cut?" he asked. "Do it." We released the unedited 20-minute video. It showed everything. The punk slapping me first. The extortion. The girls rummaging through my suitcase like animals. The neighbors stealing my underwear. And finally, Elias's entrance and the reading of the deed. The internet exploded. The hashtag Oakwood Vultures trended worldwide. Internet sleuths found Ava's university profile within an hour. They found the neighbors. The public shame was nuclear. Ava, Jenna, and Lily were expelled from the university the next morning. The dean issued a public statement citing gross violation of the code of conduct. The greasy man was fired from his job at a local bank after his employer saw him sniffing stolen underwear in 4K resolution. Kyle was denied bail due to his history of violence and flight risk. I watched it all unfold from my laptop, feeling a grim satisfaction. They wanted attention? They got it. 2 months later, I stood in the hallway of the 12th floor. It smelled of fresh paint and lavender. I had evicted the entire floor. Every single neighbor who had stood by and watched or participated in the looting had breached their lease agreements regarding criminal activity and noise. Elias had processed the evictions with ruthless speed. The apartments were empty now. Silent. I walked into Unit 1201. It had been fully renovated. The cheap carpet was gone, replaced by hardwood. The walls were a soft cream. The furniture was modern and chic. On the TV stand sat a new Lego set. The Millennium Falcon. Ultimate Collector Series. "It looks better than the old one," Elias said, walking in behind me. "It does," I smiled. "The trial concluded this morning," he informed me. I turned to him. "And Kyle got 5 years. Assault and battery, grand larceny." The judge didn't like his attitude. "And the girls?" "Probation for 3 years, community service, and a permanent criminal record for theft. They have been ordered to pay restitution for the damaged property, though I doubt they can afford it. They're working minimum wage jobs now. Ava is currently working at a fast food drive-thru in New Jersey." I nodded, feeling a weight lift off my chest. "Good. There is one more thing," Elias said, stepping closer. The professional distance he usually maintained seemed to shrink, just an inch. "Your father wants to know if you're ready to come home. Or if you plan to keep managing this building." I walked to the window, looking out over the city skyline. I had come here to hide, to be normal. I had failed at being normal, but I had succeeded in something else. I had learned to fight. "I'm keeping the building," I said. "I'm going to turn it into affordable housing for students. Real students. Ones who need a break, not entitled bullies." I turned back to Elias. "But I'll need a good lawyer to manage the contracts." Elias smiled, a rare, genuine smile that reached his eyes. "I believe I can clear my schedule." 6 months later, I walked into a coffee shop near the university. I was wearing a tailored suit, my head held high. I ordered a black coffee. "Name?" the barista asked without looking up. "Anna." The barista froze. Her hand holding the marker trembled. She looked up slowly.
"It was Ava."
She looked 10 years older. Her hair was frizzy, her uniform stained, and the arrogant sparkle in her eyes was dead and buried. When she saw me, she flinched, as if expecting me to hit her. "Here," she whispered, sliding the coffee across the counter. She couldn't meet my eyes. I took the cup. I didn't say anything mean. I didn't mock her. I didn't need to. Her existence was punishment enough. "Keep the change," I said, dropping a $20 bill into the tip jar. I walked out into the sunlight, the city bustling around me. I took a sip of the coffee. It was bitter, but the aftertaste was sweet. It tasted like victory.